Hello, welcome back. So, in this episode, I'm going to be uh, discussing, we're at the tail end, sidereally speaking in astrology. We're heading towards the tail end of the sign of Gemini. It's currently where the sun is placed in the constellation, but we're at the tail end of that because we're getting ready on July 15th. We're going to be moving into the sign of Cancer. Now, Western astrology acknowledges that we are already in the sign of Cancer as of, I believe, June 20th, 21st. But again, I'm focusing on the sidereal placements of the signs based on the sign placement in the constellation. Western astrology places their sign based on the start of the spring equinox or vernal equinox, which is Aries, Taurus, and Gemini representing the signs for spring, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo representing the signs of summer, so on and so forth. So the Western astrology placement of the signs is based pretty much on the seasons, which is not quite correct alignment-wise when it comes to where the sun is actually placed in the stars, in the constellations. So if you get an app that shows, the position of the sun, the moon, the planets, and the signs, you'll see that we are currently and always will be, sidereally wise, we're always not, excuse me for bumping the camera, the sun's in the sign of Gemini. So I'm not going to go on a whole tangent about this, but I want to focus this episode on the energy of Gemini and Mercury. And so the deck that I am working with, and I will more than likely be highlighting the Tabula Mundi deck, which these cards are, and this is the case for it. I will be doing a series where I want to focus on the planets, their energy, and how they work in the signs. Now, I believe I started to do this series about a year ago. I can't remember where I started, or let alone where I left off. I'm going to have to look back in the videos. But I want to go through all 10 planets. Now, this is going to be different because this deck here only focuses on the 7 traditional planets. So it does focus on the Golden Dawn system before Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto came into the picture. So I will still focus on the modern planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. I may not be able to do it with this deck because it only acknowledges the traditional planets, but I will focus on those energies of the planets, but I will probably use another deck. So with all that being said, let's just get right into where we are right now, wrapping up our last week of Gemini. So the cards I have here are representing more the Decan placement of Gemini when it comes to the minor arcana and the major arcana. Okay, so here we have the Lovers. I'm just going to show this so you can see it up close. Okay, this is our symbol for Gemini, the Hebrew symbol for this placement of Gemini in the Tree of Life. And then we have Mercury, which is the ruling planet for Gemini. And again, the Hebrew symbol for the magician or the Magus in relation to the Tree of Life. Now, imagery-wise, this is quite different. And Meleen, I like her approach. I like that she took the symbolisms of these archetypes and put them into a different realm of interpreting these. Some are ethereal, some are relating to the Egyptian mysteries, just a whole different way of visualizing and interpreting these archetypes. So what we have here are the decans for the sign of Gemini. Okay, so our symbol here again for Gemini, 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords. Now, Gemini is a mutable sign. So the 8s, 9s, and 10s and the decans will be related to the 4 mutable signs. So we have Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So those 4 are all mutable signs. And so they are going to be in the realm of 8, 9, and 10. Swords here for Gemini. 8, 9, and 10 will be related to our mutable sign of Virgo, which would be 8, 9, 10 of Pentacles, so on and so forth. But here, this is interesting. This is a really challenging set of cards for the sign of Gemini. So for those of you who have a tarot deck, I suggest pulling out your 8, 9, and 10 of Swords in relation to Gemini. And visually, you're going to see some different depictions. Now, the swords that most of us know tend to be on the harder side. They show more of the darker side of our mental capabilities, our strengths, but primarily our weaknesses. And so the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords placements, we're seeing where these conflicts are coming in. Now we have Jupiter. Okay, I'm going to show this here, and then I'm going to explain these cards very briefly. So our 8 of Swords. Okay, so this is Gemini in the planet of Jupiter. Now, I'm also going to be changing the way that we say our placements. I'll probably mess up a few times, but we tend to say Jupiter in Gemini, Venus in Taurus, so on and so forth. It should be the other way around. It's the sign that is entering into the realm of that planet. So if our 8 of Swords, this would be related to our first decan of Gemini. Now keep in mind, Western astrology, the dates are going to be different from sidereal. Okay, so with sidereal astrology, the placements that we would know for the first decan of Gemini, date-wise, will represent, I believe it would be the first, like the middle of June. I think it's like June 14th to the 24th. Just add 10 days more or less to that, from the 24th to June 24th to July 4th, so on and so forth, and the 4th to the 14th. The July 4th to the 14th would be our 10 of Swords. The 24th to the 4th of July would be our 9 of Swords. This is all sidereal. And then our July 14th to the 24th, or June 14th to June 24th would be our 8 of Swords. So you have to change the dates a little bit. I may do a video about how to better work with the decans in a sidereal placement. But here, Jupiter, Gemini, okay? 8 of Swords is, we're seeing Jupiter's a planet of expansion. It is a fire sign. It is a lot of energy. It is of things that are over abundance, okay? And here we could see this overabundance in the realm of balancing our heart and our mind, how we're feeling about things, okay? And so here we have our moon. I'm going to bring this up. We have our moon and our sun. But look here, this is like our center of our soul, our inner being. And I believe this is pronounced up here, Vajra. which is a Tibetan tool that is used in meditation. But here, let's use these elements, kind of sword-like looking. They're moving in different directions, the placement of this. Okay, we have this expansion of our thoughts, our perception of things, going in so many different directions. And here we have the eagle and lion, the lion representing the sun, vitality, energy. But also here we have the eagle. Eagle is represented by the sign of Scorpio. So we have the moon energy here. So we are balancing these different forms of perspectives, emotional perspective, but also mental perspective. And there's just confusion because there's too much going on in the mind. And this is where we get our Eight of Swords, our interference, our block. A lot of the times this is self-imposed. Okay? This is energy that we put upon ourselves because we are trying to understand how we feel about things, but also trying to make sense of it. And so it tends to be a lot of going back and forth, and this Jupiter fiery energy of that's being influenced by Gemini, which is air sign, is a bit too much. You know, it's a bit overwhelming, and this causes a lot of blockage and unclarity about things. Our next card here relating to Gemini, but we're in the sign of Mars. So we're looking at all fire elements here. We got Mars, Jupiter, and we also have the Sun. Now our Nine of Swords here, okay, it's a very, very hard card to look at. Okay. This is like the ultimate. This is where the mental capabilities, now the mental capabilities of a person that's just, it can't go any farther. Okay. I feel again with the swords a lot of energy that comes from the cards are things that are self-imposed. We can have these energies of imbalances based on our environment, who we surround ourselves with, and how it affects us. That's what I'm seeing here with Gemini, is how this energy around us is affecting us. Who's the company that we're keeping? How are they talking to us? What's the environment that you're living in? Is it a supportive environment, mentally, emotionally? And if it isn't, then we start taking things into our minds and letting our minds run away with things. And next thing you know, we are misperceiving what is actually taking place. Like when we think someone's could be saying something bad about us or thinking something bad about us just because of the way that they present themselves to you, is probably not the case. You know, we're so centered on what other people think about, and that shouldn't really be the issue. It should be what we think about the situation and not be influenced by someone else. These cards here are showing cards where we can't think for ourselves because we're letting one part of our perception of something get the best of us or get the worst of us, and this is what ends up happening. Our Mars and Gemini. Mars is dealing with conflict. It's dealing with aggressiveness. It deals with moving forward very quickly, letting a lot of this stuff happen around us and affecting us. And it would seem from coming to blockage, it just goes to the Nine of Swords of being overwhelming. Okay. Now our Ten of Swords here, our Sun and Gemini. Okay. Sun and Gemini here, we have ruin. Okay. A lot of the Ten of Swords cards just don't seem to have a positive end. That's via the RWS inspired decks, the Doth inspired decks. They follow in that lineage of how some of the heavier cards in those systems are represented. This is no different, but the Ten of Swords here, and I'm going to relate our Queen of Cups here to this card. Here we go. Okay, look at this. This is like the ultimate. This is our Orphic egg. This is the egg of creation. This is work that we've been working towards, and we see the egg already full, like it's getting ready to be released, but we're letting some outside influences, we're letting our perception get the best of what this potential situation could have become, and instead we are destroying it. Okay, we are breaking this down. Now you would think with the Sun in Gemini that that planetary placement of vitality and life force would be more of a positive ending for this card. It, in a sense, it is. It's almost a reminder. If you look here, okay, we have the dark side of this. Okay, but also, I have to turn this around here. Okay, we can change this around. We could change a situation that was just too overbearing, full of heaviness, hatred, a lot of hurt, anguish mentally, and learn from it. Now people are like, how can we learn from pain? How can we learn from being distraught and overwhelmed? How can we learn from that? How can we move from that? It's a matter of making these steps and working with the amount of swords that we have allowed to break us down. We have to work with each of these. We have to start removing these. Now this is the end, okay? But this is our choice. This is, if we want to move in this direction, then that's fine. If you are already in this direction, what's the next thing that's going to happen? Okay? We have to start over again. We have to create a new way of approaching a situation that was very overwhelming, and approach it in a sense where it is more positive. This is where you learn from this. Okay, that's the Sun aspect for Gemini. Change the perspective in a way that we can learn from it and grow from it. Now our Queen of Cups, this is interesting here. With this deck, the Queen of Cups here, water, tends to be represented by the sign of Scorpio. Okay, this deck presents the Queen of Cups in a very soft and emotionally caring position. We have what looks like dragonflies. We have the phoenix above her. Now, these two, Meleen, relates to each other in the sense that it could be also a form of illusion. What's happening here in this card, okay, our Ten of Swords. Are we not really seeing or emotionally seeing what's happening at a mental level? Are we in a dream realm? That's one aspect of this card, because look what's right in the center of the moon. We have the rising phoenix, and here we have the sun. Okay, now they're similar in design because we have the sun looking somewhat obscured. Maybe it's being clouded over, or maybe it's clearing. That's entirely up to how this card is interpreted in readings. Okay, but here, you know, the moon is the reflection of the sun. Keep that energy in mind. Okay, I feel emotionally this is the way that we should be looking at this situation. It's completely opposite energy. It's water versus air. It's how we feel about the situation. It is deep. It is intense. Scorpio. It is revealing, it is burning down, it is releasing, it is growing. And this is where the Queen of Cups can help this Ten of Swords and to move out of the situation. Okay, like the phoenix over the moon right here in this card. Very nice. Now here, our Knight of Swords. Okay, fire of air. This tends to be associated with the sign of Sagittarius. But with the Tabula Mundi deck, this card is associated with these first two decans because we have Jupiter and Mars, fiery planets. So is the Sun, but this is a different interpretation. And then Meleen associates these two cards in a way that it takes in some of the elements. I'm going to move this really close. Oh no, there we go. You could see the boar. The boar is wrapped on the front part of that horse, and we have the boar here. Okay, this is, for me, I feel this energy of Sagittarius for this Knight of Swords court card in relation for the 8 and 9 of Swords is moving on from the situation. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Sagittarius is the adventurer. They're the ones that are always looking beyond the horizon. They want to know what's up ahead. You know, they want to know, okay, so this is what's happening right now. They are the optimists. What can we do to change this? Sagittarius is a sign that just likes to keep going, which is great, but also they need to stop and maybe slow down their energy to really see what is happening around them. That's something I constantly say with Sagittarius. When I do readings for Saggies, there tends to be a lot of fast movement towards things and not really slowing down and looking around them and seeing what opportunities are there as well as what their goal is. Okay, so this is what I like about this Knight of Swords in relation to our 8 and 9 of Swords. This can actually be our savior for these two cards. Okay, again, it's the fire energy, and it's using this momentum of movement, of fire, purging, and creating space for something new, moving beyond this. This is how I feel for the Knight of Cards. Okay, another thing that's really wonderful with this deck is that the court cards in the Tabula Mundi do make reference to some of the images in the minor arcana. Like we have the pig's head here. I'm going to show this again. Just minor detail. Okay, we have the star and the wings. Okay, relating here to our eagle. You know, it's moving this energy upward instead of being stuck. Okay. Very quickly with our Lovers card here in Gemini. Gemini deals with communication, all forms of communication, social media, speaking, writing. This connection here, it's also about partnerships. But with the Tabula Mundi, we're seeing more something alchemical happening here with the Lovers. The Empress in this deck morphs, and the Empress, and this is our Emperor, they come together. It's Venus and Mars. Venus is the Empress. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the card still. And Mars is related to Emperor. Okay, we're seeing these energies coming together, forming as one. And we have the sword here. The sword going right through the stone. Okay, in relation to the energy of Gemini. Now here we have the stones, right, in different forms, in different situations. We see the wings here, of our Empress, representing the eagle. Here is our lion, represented here in our Eight of Swords. We're seeing the journey of the lovers through the decans of 8, 9, and 10. That's one way of seeing this. And the lovers is also can be associated to the devil card, because we do see the man and woman, but tends to be shackled. There tends to be some binding issues that take place between these two. Okay, and our Magus is Mercury, and this is the card that is all about working with these elements. We have our sword, we have our pentacle there as the turntable. We have all this energy. We have the energy of Mercury at the console. Quite humorous, this card. But I like, because Mercury is the communicator, the translator, how this information is being explained, interpreted, and taking it out into the universe. The magician here is the master. Understanding, working with all these tools. And I just noticed something here. It looks like Meleen put in the tree of life here. There are little things that when you look at this deck, you have to take a second glance, because you may miss something. So this is the key. This is the individual who knows how to work with these tools, is the master, is the person who's in full control of these energies, and choosing the right vibration, if you will, to send out into the universe here with the magician. Okay, so again, this is Mercury, the communicator. So I am going to bring out the cards here that represent the planet Mercury. Okay, so I didn't want to do two videos. I figured I'd just do one and discuss Gemini and Mercury all at once. Okay, so I'm going to take these here. Gemini's been an interesting month. I'd like to know how Gemini's been for many of you. I think each time we go into a sign, everyone says, oh, it's always a hard month. And we have to blame it on something, so we have to blame it on the signs. Okay, so for Mercury, I have to get these cards all lined up. Okay, it's just going to be 4. Or actually 5. Okay, because we got 2 in relation to Pentacles. So we'll make sure you can still see this. There we go. If not, I'll just hold it. Okay, so in the Tabula Mundi deck, we have 2 cards associated with Pentacles and Mercury. Okay, but the energy is different. Mercury's influence in the different suits of the Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles are showing different kinds of energy, and they're in different signs. Okay, we're seeing some positive energy with Mercury in some signs, and some not so forward-moving energy with Pentacles. Okay, so our 8 of Wands, this would be our Sagittarius. Okay, the Sagittarius and Mercury. Okay, now we tend to see the 8 of Wands And again, remember 8, 9s, and 10s are all related to the mutable signs, and Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So with the Eight of Wands, we tend to see in many decks wands or batons that are moving up and down. It looks like there's a lot of quick energy taking place. And that's very suitable for Sagittarius because they are very quick moving. That sign is of quick moving energy. But it's what's influencing the sign through the energy of Mercury. It's quick movement. But what's wonderful is, and I've seen this, I believe, with the Arc card in this deck, we have the rainbow. We have the caduceus. And so we're seeing a blend of these energies from Sagittarius being influenced of Mercury that's leading to things. This movement of exploration, and it's happening very quickly. They're taking in a lot of energy. They're taking in a lot of information. This is a sign of quick changes, fast growth for this sign of Sagittarius. Okay, and again, Mercury is also relating to speed, but more of the mind, how we're thinking, how we are seeing and thinking about things. Our Three of Cups. Here's Cancer and Mercury, which we are currently in. Sidereally, we are currently, Cancer is in the sign of Mercury. But this is interesting too because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and Meleen did a wonderful job showing the phases of the moon. And I like how this moon here is in the shape of like a shadow Orphic egg. Our cups, our Three of Cups, we are looking at our connection to what we are creating. We're feeling the possibilities of things happening, but coming from a deeper place. We have harvest, we have the growth, we have, I believe this is related to fiery energy. This is earth, fire, and then we have our gold orb here in relation to accomplishments. And then of course the lotus, being open to things, letting this energy flow. Okay, look how this energy flows from one cup into another, and it spills out, and it goes out into the distance. But this communication of Cancer and Mercury, or Mercury and Cancer, is how we are feeling. The way that we are making our choices are coming from a place of fullness. This card for me is almost a sense of emotional confidence. Like, okay, I feel things are developing and it feels right. And I'm going to keep going with this. We have also the phases of the moon. We got the full moon, and we have our first quarter and our last quarter, and going through these cycles. We just came out of our new moon a few days ago in Cancer. And so now we are waxing, we are gaining this energy. We're now in the moon in Leo, sidereally. So there's a sense of confidence right now based on our intentions, what we want to move forward towards with this Cancer influence in Mercury. Okay, our Six of Swords. Aquarius in Mercury. Air and air, water and air, fire in air. Fire and air work together, so this Eight of Wands is a very strong combination. here the water and Mercury could cause some conflict, but the strength of the communication here is coming through our intuitive feelings, our connection to what we're working towards. Okay, so here, Six of Swords. Okay, we know Aquarius as being the innovator, looking ahead, the progressor, seeing things in a different way. And also look closely. We have the planetary glyphs. We have Jupiter here, Saturn here. There's our Mars, there's our Venus. And then we have the signs on this little scientific time watch. And looking up at the stars. Aquarius and Mercury is all about perception, but coming more from an idealistic place. Looking up to the constellations, looking at things that other people don't see. That's Aquarius right there. Aquarius tends to not see eye to eye with a lot of people. And so that's what makes them unique, because they feel their vision is strong and it can influence and make change. And that's where we get this Aquarius and Mercury, the scientific, almost taking a technical approach to what's happening in the world or in a situation. Seeing it in a different realm. That's our Aquarius and Mercury. I'm gonna keep moving so I can wrap this up here. Okay, so now with our pentacles, we're moving in a different direction here. Okay, so it's Taurus and Mercury. Okay, and I want you to look at this. This was our soundboard with our magician, and we could see the bull symbol, all 5 bull symbols. Now 5s, as many of us know, in the tarot represents a crossroads, represents struggle, worry, discontent. Okay, there's no one here at the controls. Okay, I'm going to show you here. I'm going to go side by side so you can see how our energy has just shifted. From our Magus, where everything's lively and everything's open, to here. It's a little bit more contained. There's a nail right here that's gone through the turntables. There's a lack of certainty in this. The keys off to the side. The sword isn't there. There seemed like a bit of a burnout here from the turntables. There's just too much concern. There's just too much concern with Taurus when it comes to value things that are important. There's almost a loss of confidence or a lack of being stuck in a situation for too long and just ruminating on it. We have the locks here. We have the chains that are holding this down for the sign of Taurus. So here's an example of Mercury going more in an unencouraging direction with the mind. Okay, we're allowing this. Remember I said when it comes to the mind with the swords and how we think, we can allow this to happen. It's self-imposed. Okay, because we allowed a situation to grow and just spend more time of just not doing something about it and just thinking about, it's like, wow, this is really bad. This is really bad. This is all what we're thinking. It's not going to get any better. We're going to get stuck. We're going to get locked down. That's our 5 of discs, Taurus and Mercury. But we can change it around. Work with what we have. I think that's a plus with Taurus. Taurus knows how to work with resources. As much as resources they have available to as little. So Tauruses, as earthy as they are, they can learn how to work out of a situation if they just see what's available around them and utilizing it and making those things work in their situation to turn it around. And lastly, our 10 of discs. Virgo and Mercury. Virgo is also an earth sign and a very interesting sign when it comes to luck. Virgo, within the decans of the tarot, has quite a bit of success based on the planetary placement. Here, our 10 of discs is wealth. Okay, we see different symbols here representing the discs, the pentacles. We see the symbol, well, not the symbol, but we see the hat of the Magus. We see the positioning of it, of the hat, where it's facing inward, facing straight ahead. The sun, the vitality of the earth, Mercury, the Vajra again. But we have here like some steps. This is almost very similar. There's a hermit. The hermit card in this deck shows the hermit going down. The hermit is ruled by Virgo. Going down into a stone entry. Okay, remember the hermit's all about soul seeking and self-discovery, working with that light that we have within us. But here we're seeing the results. We're seeing how Virgo handles the situation. Virgo is a sign of being of service to people. It's they're thinkers, hence why Mercury is assigned to Virgo. But they're very particular. They're very analytical. You know, they really need as much details as possible. This is what's created the success for Virgo with this 10 of discs. Virgo can be of influence for this card here for Taurus. They're both sharing Mercury, but different experiences. This is one where we're self-binding, locking ourselves in a situation and just being lost in it. Here, we're taking that experience and we're spending time and we're looking at it and we're problem solving. We're problem solving this issue with the 10 of discs, and our outcome is wealth. It could be material wealth, it could be personal wealth, relationship wealth. It's all what we do, how we see, and how we work with these influences. Mercury is a very strong planet, as well as all the other 9 planets as well. They are influential. Mercury tends to be a little bit more discussed because we hear about the retrogrades primarily with Mercury. And Mercury is one of the closer planets for us where we are. So when a retrograde happens and it's talked about with Mercury, then that's when we start hearing that communication goes wrong, things break down, all of that. All what a retrograde is it doesn't mean it's the end of something or turbulence for that planetary influence when it's in retrograde. It's just slowing down. It's just telling us to slow down. Retrogrades are an illusion of something moving backwards slowly. And that's all what we need to do. Okay? Don't freak out. Just slow down the energy. And guess what? If you slow down that energy, we won't have as many issues. We won't have cross communications. Okay? And if we do have cross communications or something happens, work through it. Remember what I was saying about Virgo? Problem solve. Think about what's happening and you know, work through it. Don't allow all this craziness that's going on, good or bad, to get out of control. You have to work through it. Okay? And that's what Mercury's energy is giving us the opportunity to do, is to work through these situations. Each of these. Sagittarius, Cancer, Aquarius, and of course Taurus and Virgo. Okay? Remember, we can master our situation by just not overthinking, but carefully thinking, slowing this energy down. Mercury's fast, especially in Gemini. If your Mercury's in Gemini, you're very quick. They talk fast and they process information very quickly. They being people who have Mercury in Gemini, or Gemini and Mercury. So think about all of this. Think about all these different signs and their influences by Mercury, and how to approach these different situations with feeling, with movement, but you know, taking in information and working with it, putting it to use. Our perspective of how we see things in a grander scale of things, at a wider perspective. Okay? Aquarius is community. It is seeing things from a different lens than a lot of people. Innovative. And, you know, let's not be so locked down here with our 5 of discs. Let's problem solve. Let's use the success of Virgo and Mercury to work through situations and create a healthy environment, something more positive. Okay, so with this card, I will leave you. 10 of discs for our planetary influence of Mercury during our sidereal sun sign of Gemini for 1 more week. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to work with Cancer. Cancer is the luminary that takes care of Cancer, is the moon. So that's going to be something very special to me, because that's one of my placements in my chart, Cancer, and I will embrace it as we enter into the sun sign of Cancer come July 15th. So we'll be in Gemini until, sidereally, we'll be in Gemini until June 14th. July 14th, sorry. All right, thank you for watching. Let me know your comments, your thoughts about working with the planets and the influences of the sign in the planetary ruler of Mercury. Okay? And how do you relate to the Magician energy? And of course, the Lovers. And the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords. We're actually in this Decan of Gemini. We are in our 10 of Swords. So we are at the end of this. If we're feeling some aspects of this card right now. Not necessarily, because this is fixed. The Golden Dawn system of the decans is fixed, so it doesn't mean that come that 3rd decan of Gemini that this is how things are going to be, because it's a fixed system. It's just a reminder that during that decan week, if you are challenged or there is some abundance going on, or joy, or some anger, whatnot, you can use that card, that minor arcana card for that Decan week, to just work through it. What's the challenge and how can we change it? Okay, so have a wonderful week. You can reach me via my website, it's in the description. And if you are working with the Tabula Mundi, let me know. This has been a study deck for me off and on for the last few months, and I'm happy to bring this deck in when it comes to discussing our planets and their influences in the signs. So I will see you in the next couple weeks once we are in Cancer, and I will talk about those planetary influences of the moon in the various signs relating to the Decan and also the archetypes. All right, thank you again, and I will see you again all soon. Greatly appreciate the support.